Hello students, today we'll discuss regarding suspension cable and cable with the two-hinge stiffening girders. So we have earlier discussed regarding these arches, two-hinge arches. Now in case of cables, it has two parts. One we discuss about cables, second we'll discuss about the cables with the two-hinge girders. Now like two-hinge arches, the two-hinged girders means there will be girders here and the girders is hinged. Okay. So there will be girders and the girders just like beams. Okay. And it is hinged means so there will be four reactions. Okay. So it is statically indeterminate to degree 1. So four reactions are there. We can maximum get 3 can be solved by static. So one is the statically indeterminate. So the two hinged girders are statically indeterminate is equal to 1. Okay. Now let us now second thing, you have seen the arch is completely in compression. Now cables will be like this. Just this is the cable. Okay. Now the cables have the reactions at these ends, and the reaction is always tension in nature. So the this will go like this, and if you come here, the tension will be always like this. So there will be horizontal reaction here like this at the ends, and the vertical reaction like this. So these two things will be now at any point if you draw tangent, so that will give the tension in this cable. So cable is always subject to tension. Like your arches are always subject to compression, this is subject to tension. So this is very useful in case of long span bridges. Long span structures like the bridges, cable is generally used. So if you have seen the cable bridges, if you have not seen, then you can go to the Dhabaleshwar in Cuttack district, where there is a temple Lord Shiva, and there is a cable bridge is there. Or you can go to the you can see Haridwar in Lakshman Jhula, Ram Jhula, or you can find this cable stayed bridge also in the Vidyasagar Setu in Kolkata near Howrah. You can see, if you stand in the Howrah bridge, you can see there is another bridge in called Vidyasagar Setu, with a cable stayed bridge. So there are cable stayed bridge, but these are cable bridges. So you can nearby area in Odisha, you can see at the Dhabaleshwar temple. Okay, you can visit temple. You can see both the things, cable bridge as well as the Lord Shiva. So now this is very efficient for the long span bridges. So that is why it is being used. Now structures may be classified into rigid and deformable structures depending on a change of geometry of the structure while supporting the loads. So geometry will change. So that can be we can talk the a rigid structure or a deformable structure. The structure under loading will differ. Now rigid structures support externally applied loads without appreciable change in their shape, like a frame. So we are taking a rigid frame. So in a rigid frame, when apply this load, okay, when we are applying the load, there is no change in geometry. There is no appreciable change in geometry. But in case of like beams, trusses, frames, those are taking, they are all example of rigid structures. So in rigid structures, there is no change in or shape, or we can say geometry. But in case of deformable structures, so there is sometimes we allow the deformation in the structure. So the deformable structures undergo changes in their shape according to externally applied loads. So how if whether you are applying a concentrated load or you are applying a UDL. So if you are taking a UDL, that becomes a parabola. If you are applying a concentrated load, that may take like the shape like this catenary. Like any shape it can take depending on the load applied. So depending on the external load applied, the deformed structures undergo changes in their shape. The shape will change as per the load applied. So it will see what kind of load externally is applied to the structure in the deformable structure. However, the deformations are still small. It is not that the deflation is too high, the structure will fail. So all the deformation are within the permissible value the design. Because when we are designing something, even if you are designing a slab, designing a beam, designing a column, or design any component of the structure, always we check for deflection. Check for deflection means the deflection is allowed, but it should be within the permissible limits of the codal provision. So here this though that they will differ. If you work, if anybody has experience, if you work on this cable straight bridge, you will find there will be vibrations, and there will be seeing the cables are going down like this way. It is they show the deformations. Okay. So cable structures are deformable structures. Okay. So cable structures are deformable structures. They are mainly used to support suspension roofs, bridges, cable car system. So if anybody has moved in the cable car systems, or there are sometimes you put a suspension roofs. Roof is suspended by means of cables, and it is tied at the bottom by some anchoring procedure. So electrical transmission lines and support radio antennas, they also use this cable type structure. So this is the application of the cable cables. Now cable is a funicular structure. A cable may be defined as the structure in pure tension. So this is very interesting. That cable is in pure tension. As I have explained you, there will be no compression at all, no bending at all. It is only pure tension and having a funicular shape of load. So as the load applied, depending on the load shape you are applying, the shape of this cable will be different. So the cables are considered perfectly flexible. That means there is no flexural stiffness and inextensible. So there is no flexural stiffness. So bending will be not there. It is only subject to tension. As they are flexible, they don't resist shear force and bending. So it is very important. The cable structures don't resist shear force and bending moment. It is subject to only axial tension and always acting tangential to the cable at any point along the length. So as I have shown you, I have earlier shown this. This is a cable. If you want what is the thing here, you draw a tangent. You draw a tangent, you will find the value of tension here. Okay. So the tangential, the axial tension acts tangent to the curve. So any point if it is a straight line, so it will be along this line. If it is horizontal line, along this line. You can draw this tangent to the curve. If it is parabolic, you can draw line. So depending on the loading conditions, you can draw this tangents to the deformable structure and find the tension. Now, so if the weight of the cable is negligible as compared to the applied loads, the self weight is neglected. So cable has also some self weight because every material has the self weight. So cable has a self weight. If your applied load is very larger than this self weight of the cable, you can neglect the self weight. Otherwise, you have to consider also self weight structure in the analysis as you are considering for other design things. So in the present analysis, the self weight is considered. So in the present analysis, the self weight is external applied load neglected. In the present analysis, self weight is not considered. So it depends whether you consider self weight, or if the question gives a dead load is given this much, then you have to take the dead load. Dead load does not mean only self weight of the cables. There will be also bridge loads, the deck slab loads, so that can be also taken as dead load, and you can neglect the self weight of the cables. So cable weight is neglected. And the next point is cable subjected to uniform load. Whatever load will come, that will be the uniform throughout. That means if any load transferred to cable, so it will be like this. This value will be remain same everywhere. They are subjected to UDL, uniform distributed load. So that will be the pattern of this load distribution. That is the uniform load. Cable subjected to uniform. They support dead weight and live loads. So cables can take the dead load as well as the live load of the bridge decks having the long spans. So basically, if you try to see a cable, this is also in the next the components. Now this is a cable. Suppose this is a cable. Okay, they are the suspenders. These are the suspenders from the cable, and now you have this girder here, stiffened girder. And here will be a girder, and this girder will be stiffened at the both ends. Either it is stiffened by 2 hinged or 3 hinged, whatever say. Now here is 2 hinged stiffening girder. The bridge decks, so this is the deck slab. So the bridge deck prevents the supporting cable from changing its shape by distribution of live load moving over it. Now, generally the cables change their shapes as you say, as you have discussed, by application of the loads. But by stiffening the girders, the girder is connected to the cables by means of these hangers. Now the stiffened deck prevents. So this, if you stiffen this deck, this is the deck slab. If you this is the deck slab. So if you prevent the deck slab, stiffen the deck slab, then the cable it prevents the supporting cables from changing its shape. So the shape will not change. How this distributes the live load moving over it. So because the slab vehicles will move over this. When the vehicle moves, that means live load moves. So for a longer length of cable, this shape will not change. Okay, changing of shape will be prevented. In such cables is assumed to be uniform loaded. That means when we assume that the load transfer, how the load transferred from girder to cable, the load will transfer from girder to cable by means of these hangers. So there will be the transport the hangers. So if you cut this section, then it will transport here as I've shown earlier as a UDL. Let us go to the suspension bridges. Now, in many engineering structures, such as suspension bridges, transmission lines, aerial tramway, gay wires for highway tie wires, etc. Cables are suspended between supports and subjected to vertical load, right? So the load transfer from will be to the cables as a vertical load and as a uniform load. The load of the bridge, we are discussing about bridge. The load of the bridge floor is transferred to a cable which is stretched over a span to the bridge. The cable is flexible and can adapt any curvature required by the load. So this is very important. Whatever the load will move on this on the bridge slab, so the load will be transferred to the cable, and cable can take any shape. It can adapt any curvature as required by the load. So if it point load accordingly it will change, if it is UDL accordingly it will change. So cable can be changed accordingly. Okay. So now bridge are two types. One is called unstiffened, one is stiffened. Okay. So the suspension bridge can be stiffened, can be unstiffened. In unstiffened bridges, the curve of the cable undergoes changes with the passage of load over the bridge, and decking also gets disturbed. So if you are not unstiffened, so there will be always vibration. Whenever the vehicle moves, there will be change in loads, there will be change in the transfer of the loads, and the cables undergo the change. The shape of the cable will change as per the load moves because the girder has not stiffened. So you can see in the Dhabaleshwar, it is unstiffened cable bridge. Now, if you stiffen, by stiffening, what is the advantage? By stiffening this, by stiffening your girder, you prevent to change the shape of the cable, because the girder will transfer the load to the hangers. From the hangers, will transfer the cable. But by stiffening, by any means, if you are stiffen the girders, there may be 3 inch stiffening girders, there may be 2 inch stiffening girders. I think 3 inch stiffening girders already you have been studied in the analysis 1. Now by 2 inch stiffening girders, that means you are preventing the cables to deform while the load passes on the deck slab. That is the meaning of stiffening girders. So I understand the unstiffened and stiffened difference. Unstiffened means the cable will change as per the load passes on the slab. Here the cables will not change their shape as the load passes. So that is why it is called stiffened. Let us go to various components. What are the various components of these bridges? Okay. Now these are various components. What are the components? Okay. One is a cable. You have seen the cable now. Second is vertical suspenders. That's some numbering problem. Vertical suspenders. Then deck slab, supporting towers, main span, side span, back stay, anchorage, pulley, stiffening guard. So if you draw a typical cable stay bridge, it will basically go like this. There will be piers here, okay? There will be pulley here. Over the pulley, it will go like this. There will be towers here. This will be back stay here. This will stay here. This will be tower here, and this will be suspended. There will maybe spans more than this. Okay, and let me draw here. So there will be spans more than these values, and it may be like this. So you can say different type of there will be hangers, and there will be pulleys here on both sides for the pulley to go, and it will be backstay on both sides also. This is called backstay. That has been prevented from going away from this thing. Okay, so these are the different components, different components of your suspension bridge. Now, since flexible cables offer no resistance to bending, the resultant internal force on any cross section cable must act along the tangent to the cable at that section. This already we have discussed, that always no resistance to bending, flexible structures. So resultant internal force must act along the tangent to the cable at any section, that we have discussed earlier. Resistance to bending offered by actual cables usually relatively small, and cable have neglected without serious error. So there will not be at all any flexural or bending. There will be very small bending, which is not substantial to be considered. Now, cable structures carry their load through tension. So that we have already discussed. And cable suspended between two supports at its ends may be subject to different type of loading, and the shape assumed by the cable will depend upon the loadings. Now, what it says, and the shape assumed by the cable therefore will depend upon the type of loading that we have discussed. There are various type of load as follows. The different type of loads will be your vertically downward concentrated loads, distributed loads, weight of bridge, roadway. There are example different type of loads, but they will be transferred as a uniformly distributed load. As we have seen, the load comes to the cable is uniform load. Now, the cable loaded uniformly along the span remains the shape of parabola. So the shape of the cable, if subjected to uniform, this will be just like your parabola equation, 4x by L square, x into L minus x. Or you can say y is equal to kx square. So it will remain just like a parabola. So the weight of this weight of the homogeneous cables of constant cross section is an example of load distribution uniform along the cable that we have seen. A cable loaded uniformly along the cable assumes shape of a catenary. So it will just take a shape of catenary. Now, what are the assumptions for this analysis of cables? Let us see the assumptions. What are the assumptions now? Now, the assumptions are, now you see the assumptions in analysis of the cables. Assumptions are the cable is perfectly flexible. First thing, cable is not rigid at all. It is very flexible. It can take any shape depending on the loading. The curvature may change. The wire rope and parallel wire cables are obviously quite flexible and have little flexural stiffness. I bar chains cannot carry any moment because of the freedom of rotation at the hinges. So these are the basic thing is cable is a flexible thing. It is flexible. The stiffening girder is straight. Stiffening girders cannot be curved. The stiffening girders is straight. You cannot take a curved girders for this 2-inch stiffening cables. Cable with 2-inch stiffening girders. The moment of inertia is constant. Stiffening girders, and it is tied to the cable throughout its length. You must tie the girder and the cable must be tied by the hangers throughout its length. This assumption takes into account why it is tied, the deformation of only the cord members of the truss and neglects the deformation of the web members. If it is I section, it will deform these web members. Also, since suspenders are closely spaced, their loads may be assumed uniformly distributed without introduction of a serious error. So, load transfer from the girder to these suspenders will be uniformly distributed. From the hanger to the cable will also be UDN. The dead load of girder, cable, suspenders is uniform for unit horizontal length. So the initial curvature of the cable becomes parabola. Okay, so we have seen that initial curvature becomes parabola. This is achieved by practice by attaching girder after the dead loads have been transferred to the cable. So this is possible in the field by doing some mechanisms. They do that. So adjusting the suspenders by means of turnbuckles provided for that purpose. And some turnbuckles where you can make the adjustment of the cables. Now, fourth thing, the form and magnitude of coordinates of the cable remain unchanged even after the application of live load. So that we have discussed. Once it is stiffened, whenever the live load moves on the slab, the shape of the cable remain unchanged. Okay, because stiffened, it is prevented from changing the shape. By these assumptions, the cable always remain parabolic with the same central sag. So whatever initially you have taken this cable, central sag means this is the central dip, or sometimes called central sag, from the horizontal to this. Okay. So this is called as the central sag, or sometimes in books you'll find the dip of the cable, or you can say sag of the cable, central sag. So this is the maximum sag you'll find. So that can be find out. So obviously stiffening the girder must deflect under live loads, pulling cables towards along it. These deflections and resulting errors will increase the larger span and shallower trusses. We found that the small spans and deep trusses, the errors are small. However, found to be always on safe side. So there may be errors on these calculations and things, but that will remain very small. There will be no appreciable change in the shape. So what we got from these till what we discussed, that the cable will take the shape of a parabola. The load transfer is uniform from the girder through hanger to the cable, and anywhere you take the tangent, you will file a tension in the cable. Okay. Let us come to analysis of suspended cables stiffened with the 2-inch girders. The 2-inch girders. Now, in this case, the girders supporting the roadways are hinged only at ends. So, I have shown you the girders. The girders will be hinged only at the ends, not at the anywhere in the span. But in case of 3-hinged girder, in addition to these 2 hinges, there will be another hinge provided in the span. That is why it is called a 3-hinge stiffening girders. Okay, that means the center may be anywhere in the span. This is the difference between 2-hinged girder and 3-hinged girder. 3-hinged girder is a determined structure. 2-hinged girder is a indeterminate structure, because by providing another hinge, you provide another condition to solve the problem. So the 3-hinge girders becomes a 3-hinge girders become statically determinate. 2-hinge girders are statically intermittent to 1D. The structure in this case is statically indeterminate. That is, by making the assumption that girder is rigid, that the load on the girder is transmitted to cable as UDL, the analysis can be made simple. Okay. So this thing we have discussed also earlier. Whatever load of the girder, okay, the total load divided by the span will be transferred to the cable as an UDL. Will transport as an uniformly distributed load. Very simple. So suppose that the 2 point Q1, Q2, suppose in the span there is a force Q1 and there is a force Q2. Right? Q1, Q2 are the two loads. If the Q1, Q2 are two loads, then the stiffening girder, what will the UDL? Q1 plus Q2 divided by the length of the girder. This much of load will be transferred from girder to cable through the hangers. Okay. So in general, whatever loading on the girder, there may be also UDLs in the girders, partly UDL. So calculate the total load that is being acting on the girder. The total load divided by the span of the girder will you give the load of the span, girder per span. So that will be transferred to the cable as UDL. Now, what is the horizontal reaction now each end of the cable? It will be QL square by 8F. Okay, QL square by 8F. Now, has it been given this drawing below? Has it given? Sorry. Now you can see here. So this is a typically a cable, and as I've told, sometimes it will be suspended by like this on this side. There will be a pulley here, and if I might seem there will be a pulley here, and through the pulley the cable will go like this, and it will be back stay here, and this side also. Okay. This is sometimes also done the back side, or sometimes you find in case of this span is here, the span is will be like this. It will be like this. It will be again overhanging part will be there. Okay. The span will be overhanging. Also is allowed. The suspended cable with overhangs. Suspension cable bridges with overhangs. And the girder has been overhang to certain extent. Okay, as permissible. Here you can see what is F. So F, as I've told, F is taken as the sag. This is equal to sag, central sag, or you can say deep of the cable. Now H and V are the reactions at the ends, horizontal reaction, vertical reaction, also at these ends. And the resultant, what is the resultant? Resultant will like this. Resultant will be tangent to here. So this will be your tension T. And this tension at here will be maximum. Okay. The tension here will be the maximum. What will the T? The T maximum will be root over S square, the horizontal reaction, plus B square. And you can find out the slope tan theta. Tan theta can obtain. Now this is the girder which is span is equal to, and these are the hangers. Okay, I have already told these are all are the hangers. Through the hangers, the load is transferred. Now from this you can understand, and what the formula is been now written. The horizontal reaction at each end of the cable H is equal to QL square by 8F. So you can find out this load, that is QL square by, and Q, what is Q? Q is the load transferred from girder to the cable, that is equal to total load of the girder divided by the span of the girder. Now what the vertical reaction? That is equal to WL by 2, that is QL by 2. You can find the maximum tension in the cable will be V square plus S square root over, as I have explained in the drawing earlier. Now, for any point on the girder, what is the bending moment? That is the B moment. So P1 at this point, what is the moment? Now, if you'll take here, okay, if you'll take here, then you can find out at any point, if you take xy here, like xy. Okay. So, so here it will be h into f minus y. So this is F. This is you can take Y. So what will the force here? H is F minus Y. So for any point on the girder, bending moment at P1 that is equal to minus H into F1 Y. So one will the bending beam moment minus this. Okay. So beam moment will taken as simply supported. You can take the moment as simply supported moment, then minus H into F minus Y. So this is the deep. You can take any value of the location here Y. So here will be H. You can find out the moment, the difference H into F into Y. That will be negative. Now shear force at any point will be beam shear minus S tan theta. So beam shear minus S tan theta we can find out. So that will be shear as a simply supported beam minus H times tan theta. Tan theta is equal to dy dx. You can find at any point x because it is a parabola. If it is a parabola shape or any shape, you know the equation of this curve. From the equation of the curve, you can find at any point. I want at point P, you find out dy dx, and what is the x from the support, find the value, you can find out the tan theta. Okay. So one is beam shear minus S tan theta, one is your beam moment minus, it is not is equal to, it is remain minus. There is some mistake here. So there will be not the equal side. Beam moment minus H into F minus Y, that you can find out the value of your things. Okay. You can find out the beam moment at any point. So with this background, we'll start some problems on this table. Let us go to the example. Now read the question first carefully. A suspension bridge of 100-meter span has 2-inch stiffening girder supported by cable. Okay, so it is 2-inch stiffening girder, span is L is equal to 100 meters. The central dip, now that sag is equal to central dip, which is equal to 10 meters. Okay. So central dip 10 meter means your F is given 10 meter. The dead load of the bridge is 15 kilometer, live load is 30 kilometer, which covers the left hand span. That is like this. So this is a 2-inch girder. Okay. Here this span is 100 meter. There is a UDL acting up to 50 meter. So in the left half is the left half, other side the right half. Here the load is acting, UDL is acting 30 kilometer meter live load. Live load is not entire the span, it is half. Okay. Now calculate the shear force bending moment for the girder 25 meter from the left end. So from here at 25 meter. Okay. So what is the value of shear and bending that you have calculated the things. So this is sometimes it will be given like this way, or sometimes you can find out also the load will be given per meter square. Okay. So directly the dead load live load given. Sometimes it will give in dead load acting 5 kilonewton per meter square, but at the same time it must give the width. Okay, and the width of this span must be given so that you can multiply with the width of the span. Now the road wheel, width of the road wheel given. So what we'll do, suppose instead of this, why I'm telling, because the similar problem will be similar, but there will be some changes. Instead of giving this 30 kilonewton meter, 15 kilonewton meter, it can give, there's a live load of 6 kilonewton per meter square. 6 kilonewton per meter square, and 6 kilonewton per meter square, and the roadway is 5 meter. So you can find out this value per meter run of the girders, and there may be 2 girders. There may be 2 girders on this suspension bridge. You know, the 2-inch stiffening girders. One girder may not be there. There may be 2 girders. So load will transfer to both the things. So I am talking about alternative of this problem. The calculation of dead load live load directly given here 15 kilonewton meter and 30 kilonewton meter. Sometimes it will given like dead load is equal to 6 kilonewton meter square, and the roadway is 6 meter, and there are two 2-inch stiffening girders. So there is two 2-inch stiffening girders, means total load will be 6 into 6 divided by 2. So 18 kilonewton per meter will come to each girder. Getting my point? So the problem will be a similar solution, but the load calculation will be different. So it will given live load is 10 kilometer per meter square. So live load is 10 kilometer per meter square, means live load live load multiply with the roadway or road width will given. Okay, right? Remember, in the question, roadway will given, or it will be called as road width of the roadway. So if this data is given and the dead load live load is given kilonewton meter square, along with it will given a number of 2-inch girders. Here it is one girder, there may be also 3 girders. If there are different number of girders, the total load will be equally divided among the girders, right? If there is 2 girders and load is 6 kilometer meter square, road width 6 meter, so 6 into 6 by 2 is equal to 18 kilometer per meter dead load. Similarly, live loads can be found out. If live load is given 20, so 20 into 6 by 2, so that will come to each girder. There is a 3 girder. Suppose live load is 20 kilonewton per meter square. Live load is 20 kilonewton per meter square, and there are three 2-inch girders in the bridge. So 3 2-inch girder means, so 20 road width is equal to 6 divided by 3. So 40 kilonewton per meter will come to each girder. So this is how we will calculate the load transferred to the girders first. There is only one girder, then total load will come. The number of girders on the bridge, then the total load will be found. The load is given kilonewton per meter square. The intensity of loading is given kilonewton per meter square, and multiply with the road width. The road width, that will be the total load on a section, and divide into number of girders. That will be kilonewton per meter, right? Kilonewton per meter, that you can find out. So this is the alternative calculations may sometimes be asked. So now we'll find the live load. So what is the live load now? Because you have the in this problem, live load is equal to up to 50 meter is given. Okay, so 50. This is 50 meter. So 50 multiply by 50 multiply 30 kilonewton per meter. Okay, that will be equal to 1500 kilonewton. That is the live load, total live load. The dead load. So due to the uniform distributed load transmitted to cable, only due to live load. Due to live load is only 50 kilonewton per meter. Okay, that the load transfer from the girder to the cable. For taking this live load only, due to live load, load will transfer. So taking the girders as simply separated girders carrying live loads, reaction at supports. So what is the reaction? Now the reaction comes out to be 37.5. Okay. So you can find out the beam moments at 25 meter and all these things. Okay. So now we are finding the girder first. What is the shear and bending moment in the girder? So while taking the shear and bending in the girder, only live load is to be considered. We are not going to consider the dead load here. Okay. Only live load will give the bending and shear. So what is being done? So what we have done? What is the now? This is your. So this is your girder. Now this is your UDL. Okay. So now find out what is the load to be transferred from girder to cable as a uniform as a live load. So live load is 1500 kilonewton meter. Then you have this so load transferred from here to cable will be total load divided by span, that comes up 15 kilonewton meter. Now it is, you take simply supported as things. Now find the reaction. So it is 50 kilonewton per meter, sorry 30 kilonewton per meter, acting for 50 meter. So calculate the value of reaction. So it is A, this is B, okay. This is the reaction at VB. This is equal to reaction VA. So VA, VB. Now you will take VB, take the this total is 100. So find the reaction, take the moment about A. So VB into 100 is equal to 30 into 50 is the total load multiplied by the CG. So from here to CG, here it will be from CG from here to here it will be 30 to 75. So it will find the value of VA. So take the moment at B0. So that means sigma MB is equal to 0. Sigma MB is equal to 0. So you can calculate the value taking moment at here VA into 100. So 30 into 50 multiplied by 75. This comes out the vertical reaction here. So total load is 1500 minus this will find VB. So now find V and VB. Now you have to find out the moment at 25 meter from here, the girder. So 25 meter from here means calculate the reaction VA. So like your simple VA into 25, VA into X minus WX square by 2. So as simply supported with UDL, moment at X. Okay. So 100, 11, 25, 25, 30 into 25 square. So this is the value of V moment. Now what the H value? H is equal to QL square by 8F. We have decided H, what the horizontal thrust due to this load will be live load QL square by 8F. F is the 10 meter deep. So calculate that value of horizontal load. Now deep of cable 25 meter from left end. Okay. QL square by 8F. So you see. So this is equal to what the deep given the question. The central deep is 10 meter. Okay. So he has taken QL square by 8F. Okay. Now what is the value of Y? A distance 25 meter. You have to find F minus Y. So or tan theta I would find out. So what is the value of this now? So deep of the cable are 25 meter from left end Y, left end. So if you take the left side, okay. So this is your cable. The girder. You have the H here. So you have to to find out the moment. You have to also find the value of Y here. Now, deep of the cable at 25 meter from left end will be, this is a parabola. So 4 H or F, tell what of F into L square into X into L minus X. This is the equation of the parabola. So put the value, F is equal to 10, X is equal to 25. So this comes out 7.5. So these tips now come 7.5 meters. Okay. So you have to find the moment in the girder at here. One, you are getting this. Okay. You are getting the moment due to as simply supported minus this H into Y. So here the moment will be H into Y. So calculate the value of H into Y. Okay. You see here. Beam moment minus moment due to horizontal reaction H into Y. So this becomes the moment in the girder. Now what is the slope in the cable? You can find Y is given, you can find dy by dx. Dy by dx is equal to tan theta. Okay. So you put x is equal to 25, this is the slope. So now to the shear force here. Shear force we have seen the beam shear minus h tan theta. Beam shear, what is the beam shear here? Beam shear is like this. So you have the reaction here 11.1125. There is UDL of 30 kilonewton per meter. What is the shear force at 25 meter? At 25 meter it will be 1125 minus this W into the distance x. So that will be 1125 minus 30 into 25. Then minus h, already found out, h 1875 to tan theta is point. So that will give you the beam shear in the girder at the distance of 25 meter from the left end. So find this value, that comes out to 0. So there is no shear. Now come to cable. Now if you come to the cable, the total load on the cable is 30 kilonewton meter. How will find 30 kilonewton meter? One is 15 kilometer meter transfer from this dead load, and there is a dead load of 15. So dead load 15 plus live load was not throughout the span, it is only left arm. So equivalent was 15. So 15 plus 15 becomes 30. So this is the 30 kilonewton meter. About the vertical reaction, WL by 2. At the horizontal thrust, WL square by 8F. So just put the formulas. So this is nothing, WL by 2. This is equal to your W. And this is nothing, 15 plus 15. Okay. 15 is the dead load that we transfer, and 15 is the equivalent of this live load transferred to the girder. So that is the live load part. And here it will be W or Q, what do you say? WL square by 8F. 8F, 8D, what you write? The maximum tension is nothing. V square plus is equal to sign is missing. So calculate the value. That will be the maximum value. Take the square of these things. That will be the maximum value of this. Now let us go to the second problem. Now what is given here? The two hinged girders of a suspension bridge have a span 100 meter, deep 10 meter, like we have seen the last problem. The girder has subjected 2 point. There are 2 point loads, 200 and 400 at 20 and 80 from left end. So this is like this. This is a two hinged girder. Okay. The span is 100 meter. So there are two loads, 200 kilonewton and 400 kilonewton. Okay. 200 and 400 kilonewton acting 20 meter from this side and also 20 meter from this side. So from here 80 means, so this is 20 from other side. So 20 from both sides they are acting, but the thing is that they are not symmetrical. So you have to find out the equivalent load. So 200 kilonewton and 400 kilonewton acting at 20 meter and 80 meter from the left end. Find the shear force, bending moment at 25 like the previous problem and the maximum tension. Same thing is being asked, but here there is no UDL acting on this span. Only acting is the vertical loads at a different distance. There may be n number of loads. You should not worry about the number of loads. The simply supported beam having a number of loads, and what is your task to find out the total load on the girder, then divide by the span. That will be transferred as the live load to the cables, right? Now here there is no, I think there is no dead load. Okay. Now total load is equal to 600 kilonewton. Divide total span 6 kilonewton meter, and vertical reaction will be in the cable WL by 2. Okay. And horizontal cable will be WL square by 8F, and then V square plus S square root will give the maximum tension cable. Okay, there is no dead load is given in this question. There is only live loads are given. So total load will come this year. So just put the value and find the solution. So maximum tension will come. V square plus S square will equal to 300 square is equal to, sign is again missing here. So is equal to 300 square plus 750 maximum square, and y will be equal to 4h by L square into x into L minus x. The same thing, 7.5 meter. dy dx tan theta. You can take the if you take this, okay, tan theta means lx will be L, and x square will be 2x. 4h square, 4h L square remain outside. So at x is equal to 25, put this value. Okay. Now what is the beam moment? Beam moment is equal to, now see, there is 20, there is 200 and 400. Left side 25 meters. So this is 25. Okay. And this is 20 meter. So at this reaction we have found 240. This is 240. So what is the beam moment at here? Just like simply supported, we find 240 into 25. Okay. This will give the clockwise moment. Then this 200 into this distance, 25 minus 20, that is 5. That will give you anti-clockwise negative moment. So that is the moment. The beam moment. Okay. Now what is the actual bending moment? The beam moment minus h into y. So okay. So beam moment we have found out. So you can put the value there. Now here it is 7.5. It is wrongly 0.5. Make the correction. 7.5. Okay. So beam moment minus h. H was 750. Okay, h was 750. H into y. Y was 7.5. So it will become minus 625 kilonewton meter. The unit will be kilonewton meter. So 5,000. It will be 5,625. Multiply minus 5,000 will give minus 625 kilonewton meter. Now if come to beam shear, what the shear force here? It will come to this side 240 minus 200 is the beam shear 40 kilonewton minus h tan theta. So this comes out to minus 100 kilonewton. Okay. So this is how you can calculate the values for this suspension bridges with the 2-inch stiffening girders. So there may be any kind of loads, and you can find out the reactions in the bridge girders. Okay, 2-inch stiffening girders. So there are two issues. So one issue is you have to find out the moments and shear force in the girder. Okay. Second issue, find out the maximum tension in the cable. Now, while analyzing the girders, we consider only live load acting on the girders. We consider live loads only on the girders. Even if we are calculating horizontal thrust for girders, due to the live load girders is different, and in the cables it is different, right? Now, while taking these girders only, try to understand, while taking girders only, to find out the maximum bending moment and maximum shear force, we consider only the live load acting on the girders. Dead load is not considered. Whatever the total live load acting on the girder, we convert an equivalent uniformly distributed load to be transferred to the cables. And taking that uniformly distributed load, we find the horizontal thrust, that is QL square by 8F. And that horizontal thrust is considered to find out the beam moment and beam shear, or girder moment and girder shear. As we have already discussed, at any section, the bending moment in the girder of beam is equal to the moment bending moment due to as a simply supported minus h times the sagging of the cable y at that section if you are coming from the left side, right? Similarly, if you are finding the shear force at any section in the girder is equal to shear force in the beam due to live load only. The reactions are those to find due to live load only, right? And minus h times tan theta. That h already we have calculated taking only the live loads equivalent on the cables. Now think you are clear. But while we are going for calculation of a maximum tension in the cable, we have to transfer both dead load and live load to the cable to find out the reactions and the horizontal thrust. So what is being done there? The total dead load on the girder we converted into kilonewton per meter. As I've told you, there are the 3 girders, 4 girders, there the road which way and load is given in kilonewton per meter square. Then in that case, you have to find out the load transfer to the each girders. So dead load in the each girder plus the equivalent of the live load transfer to the girder, both has to be added. That becomes the total load, uniform load transfer to cable. So that to be considered for finding out the vertical reaction, that is that load L by 2, that load into again your H is equal to WL square by 18. So L square by 18. And then you can find the maximum tension is nothing the square root of that the V square plus the square root of. Okay. So with this we'll conclude today's class on the cables with the 2 hinge girders. Thank you for attending this class. Have a great day. Thank you all.